Hello, friends. This is Pastor Ben Pierce as we look at who died and made you king, as we look at these various kings throughout the book of Kings and throughout the book of Chronicles. And today we're looking at part 2 of Rehoboam. Now remember, this is Solomon's son. The kingdom is still united while he becomes king. Now, Rehoboam, he wanted to make sure that he gathered all the people together and they were going to follow him. So he gathers all the people at Shechem. That's the northern part of the kingdom. Why not Jerusalem? Well, I believe what he was trying to do, again, is to gain favor with those people in the north. Well, the people began to question Rehoboam, and they loved a man named Jeroboam. Now, here's who Jeroboam is. He used to work for Solomon. In fact, he was in charge of Solomon's forced labor. Many years earlier, there was a prophet, and that prophet's name was Ahijah. Ahijah came to Jeroboam and said, Jeroboam, you're going to be king. Because of Solomon and his unrepentant ways, and because he's following after idols, the kingdom is going to be torn in two. Well, Solomon hears about this, and you can imagine he doesn't like the news that Jeroboam's going to be king. So he tries to take out Jeroboam. Jeroboam flees to Egypt. Fast forward, Solomon dies. Jeroboam returns. Now, Rehoboam, his son, goes to Shechem. He's about to be inaugurated, and the people come, and they've got a question for him. And they come and they approach him on this question. And the question is this: Rehoboam, your dad forced labor upon us. His yoke was very heavy. Can you lighten the load just a little bit? Well, Rehoboam says, well, why don't you give me 3 days? Let me think about it. Rehoboam goes to 2 different sets of counselors. He goes to the first set of counselors, some older men, they're wiser, and they tell him, hey, this sounds like a decent request. Lighten the load, it'll gain you favor, and they'll serve you. He goes to a group of younger men, and I don't know, the way it reads, I'd almost think they were in middle school. And he asked them, what do you think I ought to do? And the younger men tell him, this is a crazy request. Here's what you do. You tell him, if you think my father was tough, he used whips, I'm going to use scorpions. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and if you thought my father's finger was heavy on you, wait till you see what I'm going to put on you. The result was tragic. The northern tribe heard the answer, and they said, we don't have anything to do with the South. We don't have anything to do with David. And the nation was fractured. We now have 2 kingdoms. You have the north, which is Israel, and you have the southern kingdom, which is Judah. 10 tribes to the north, 2 tribes in the south. Rehoboam decides to show some muscle, and he sends a man named Adoram, and he started forcing some labor to take place up there. Now, the northern people have already said, we're not having this, so they stone him. And now Abijah's prophecy is fulfilled. Jeroboam now becomes king in the north. The first 3 years after his foolish decision, Rehoboam acted smartly. He obeyed the Lord. But the final 14 years of his life were marked by idolatry and immorality. The entire region was hit by war and conflict. The Egyptian army came in and plundered Jerusalem. Rehoboam had to pay the king of Egypt a ransom just to leave him alone. Here are some of the lessons we learned from Rehoboam. Sin has consequences. Solomon's decisions to follow after false gods led to his son, which led to a breaking of the nation. When you abandon God and you abandon God's word, you abandon God. And what's true today is this: the commitment to God only as strong as his commitment to his word. Here's another lesson. Listen to wise counsel. Moses listened to his father-in-law. Joshua listened to Moses. If only Rehoboam had listened to wise counsel. Make sure that anytime you receive any wise counsel, take it to God's word. See if it lines up. A lot of lessons to learn, but one mistake cost the nation.